Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Race Course, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Also brought to you by Wizard Race and Sports.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America live from our Clare Court set. Seth Merrow in here. Happy to be with you on this, as I say, Thursday morning where the weather is holding off so far, and we'll knock wood. Yesterday it held off. They rushed post time, but wound up to be a nice day yesterday, and so far it looks like a nice day again today. Coming up a little bit later on the show, Dave Grening from the Daily Racing Forum will join us. We'll do a little review and a little preview with Dave, some of the nice stakes action coming up, as well as some of the nice stakes action over the past, going back to the weekend. A little bit later on, Kevin Cox will join us as well for some handicapping. But as promised earlier, we are joined up by one of the team I promised earlier. The other half is across the street practicing because Katie Davis and her dad, Robbie, will be across the street for a charity event on Saturday night at the harness track. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but we have Katie Davis. Katie, good morning.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, happy to have you. And why don't we pull up the video, because I pulled up a little video. Robbie can't be here because he's across the street, and I think we have a video of him doing a little practice earlier. I think this is courtesy of Jessica Hellette, the photographer over there. But he's in sulky. I think we also have a shot of you on top of the horse. So you have a couple of different events. He's going to face off on the sulky side of things, and you're trotter in saddle.
Yes.
Should be fun. You looking forward to it?
I am. I am very much so. Just because it's more of a natural way of riding for me rather than being in a cart. So when they offered it to me, I was like, oh yes. Like they were like, we weren't sure if you were interested in that. And I said, oh yeah, let's do it. So it made their job a lot easier too. So I was excited.
I probably should have pulled up the video. There was some video also of you behind the starting gate as you have across the track, and with the commentary, it was very, very intriguing. So a new experience. I'm assuming you've never done that before. No. So have you been over practicing as well? And
I have.
How's that going?
You know, it's really nice to do it with somebody that has done it before, Michelle, and she's teaching me along the way, and I'm just following her lead and learning as I go, which it's an excitement because it's something new for me. So
and again, it's a trotter, not a pacer, right?
Yes, trotter.
Okay. So do you have to work to keep the horse on gait like they do, behind the sulky?
So it's really different because they were like, kind of like, Katie, put her nose up on the gate. I'm like, what? Like, they're like, yeah, they're used to it. So she's like, Michelle's horse is like banging her nose off the gate. I'm like, are you sure? And the guy's like, yeah, giving me that confident. And I put her up on the gate, and it was such a cool feeling, being in stride in basically up to a gate. And then when they closed the gate, which on our terms, opened the gate, they closed it. The horse was ready and just started taking off of me. So I started screaming. I was like, this is so cool. So it was a great experience so far. So I'm looking forward for the race.
We should mention this is a charity event. It will benefit the Franklin Community Center, also Kelly's Angels, Mark Mulholland behind that charity from Channel 13. Both great charities to benefit. It's going to come up Saturday night at the harness track, and we were talking before we went on the air. You're expecting probably like an 8 o'clock start time for the event?
Yes, because my father has one in the last, and I ride in the last, and that goes off at 6:40. Hopefully they don't push it, but luckily we're right across the street.
Yeah. and they're both going to be similar events in that you're going to be facing veterans from the harness track. So you'll be squaring off on top of a horse, and again, your father in the sulky. 2 separate events, correct?
Yes. Yep. We're not sure who's going to go first, but we'll know by, regardless, it's going to be a great time.
And will you go a half mile or a mile?
So it's two times around.
Mile.
So it's a mile.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. And again, how often have you been over there, and what's your confidence level?
So I've been over there, I want to say at least 6 times. We ran on the racetrack the last 3 times. I've done the gate once, and I've done 2 practice race runs. So the first time was like, okay, we went pretty slow because it's a different it's a different speed. It's like their quarter is our 3/8 almost. Like, it's really weird, but it's very interesting. So I'm pretty confident. I'm looking for a good race though. We want a stretch duel. So hopefully we can make it fun for everybody.
And I was saying, when you sat down, it's interesting because when we're down in the studio in Albany on Saturday mornings, we have a monitor like this in front of us with a quad screen, and one of the screens is France. And they're betting on these kind of in the saddle trotters.
Yeah.
So it's big over in Europe.
It is. And it's funny, though, because Michelle, she said she's done a couple races. And I was like, man, if they brought just one race back, I would come over after the races here at Saratoga and go right over the harness track and ride a couple. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
It'd be fun just to have it over there and watch it.
Yeah.
What's your father's confidence level? How's he coming into it? Has he ever been in the sulky before?
You know what? He tricked me. So, because Dylan was supposed to do it originally, but he has to ride out in California. And so I'm like, Dad, I'm signing you up because Eddie's at Finger Lakes. Like, I think you're the one. He's like, I've never been in a cart before. And I go, wait a second. My mom started laughing. And she's like, he's lying. And I said, come on, you're doing it. Oh. And he was really excited to do it because he's done a couple charity races out in California and I think in the Meadowlands as well. So he was like, this is a piece of cake for me, Kate. And I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. So it's going to be fun to do it. Me and my dad teaming up against the harness. So we'll see.
It will be fun. And as you say, he's over practicing this morning, honing his skills, as it were. There was the charity event with Gabe Pruitt and Pete Aiello, the announcers down in Florida a couple years ago, and they both said they gave them horses that were unlikely to break stride. They gave them veterans. Is he getting one of those veteran horses?
I'm not sure, but I worked with 2 of them, and the one, she kept breaking stride with me, but they didn't have the right equipment, and I was kind of a little bummed. I'm like, that's what I don't want to happen. I wanted fun. So they switched my horse last minute, and I really enjoyed riding him. So I think they'd be a really good comparison.
Do you have to work to keep the horse on stride?
You do.
Okay.
You do. It's very, I've learned too as well, because sulkies, when they ride in saddle, their hands are high and in their mouth. And when you ride a thoroughbred, you got to put your hands down into their withers and mane. And so while we're both practicing, we had 2 different styles going on. And I'm like, I'm definitely doing this wrong. But, so you got to learn their style. And, I'll still have my own style, but I'm more mid in their mane rather than up here and down there. So you learn. And it's enjoyable. So. Yeah.
It's going to be fun. I'm in. I'm over, right?
Good.
I'm a big harness fan anyway, so it should be a fun night. Again, that's coming up Saturday night. Benefits the Franklin Community Center and Kelly's Angels, a couple of nice local charities. So It's great you guys are involved. Looking forward to it on Saturday night. Also, wanted to talk a little bit about over here, back in the saddle over here. And yesterday we'll watch the opener. 2 tons of fun. The number 1 horse here gets you into the winner's circle. We'll talk about coming up 2024, getting back in the winner's circle up here at Saratoga.
Yeah, it was a very special moment for me because last year I had a set of 7 days and I had to bring it back to this year. They changed the rule as well, which I do agree. If you're going to get a set of days, you should take them here because it's Saratoga.
Yeah, it used to be you get a suspension in Saratoga, you take a vacation in December.
Yeah, exactly. You get an extra 2 weeks. So it was really nice. I rode 3 days, off my suspension and getting an opportunity from Al Gold and Chad Summers. And, it really, built my confidence up again, because you see a couple of your horses win. I lost the winner. I lost the second place in the stake. And I was just like this little ball ready to explode. So that's pretty much what happened in the first race yesterday.
For folks who don't know, you're a Saratoga native, correct?
Yes.
Your brother is Dylan, obviously. Your sister Jackie. We were out at the Finger Lakes with a remote broadcast maybe a month and a half or so ago. Saw her riding out there, and she's come to ride here as well.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about growing up in Saratoga.
So coming from Long Island in Florida, when my dad rode, we used to switch schools every year, and it was more of a city life. So when we all came up here, we're like, no, Dad, no, we didn't, we were kind of like up in the air about it, but he's like, you got no choice kind of thing. And we absolutely love it here. It was the best thing for us as a family. And this town is just growing, and it's very family orientated. And, I even talk about Trevor when we retired, kind of moving up here and raising our little girl, eventually. We have time, but it's just a great place to live, great place to raise kids, raise a family. And it's just, I'm lucky and fortunate that when my dad retired, he moved here. So.
Which makes it extra fun, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Have friends and family rooting along with you.
Yes.
Clapping outside the winner's circle and whatnot on after wins like that. You mentioned your family, your daughter, very cute. See her pictures on Twitter and online. And your husband's riding with a Colonial, doing very well. The leading rider I saw maybe 3 or 4 days ago.
Yep, he is. He's doing really well. The purses are great down there. You got great clients, great trainers as well. And, sometimes it's good to step away at one point, and he's doing awesome. He's doing fantastic. And he's coming up here on off days to ride as well. So keep him busy.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Joe still has his book down there?
He ended up switching agents.
Okay.
And Joe still has my book, and we're enjoying it.
Yeah, very good. Again, this is coming up Saturday night. Looking forward to it. You're expecting about 8:00 for the event, and again, a couple of nice charities that will benefit from it. As I say, I'm headed over. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Kind of a novelty event. You and your dad, Robbie, he'll be in the sulky. You'll be on top, and you going to issue any challenges? You want to?
I told him, you better win, because I don't know how well you've been doing this longer than I have. So
it is going to definitely be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And now, again, the two folks you're going against are regulars over there.
Yes. Yep.
Although I say regulars over.
I think Brett is the leading harness driver.
Okay.
That's how you say it.
Yeah.
I think he is.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of experience. And Michelle, I believe she hasn't ridden in a while, but I built her confidence as well. I said, but you got the knowledge. So you don't have to be too fit. As long as you got the knowledge, like sometimes the knowledge beats fitness, and strength. And she's like, yeah, Katie. I'm like, just remember to breathe. And she's laughing, and I'm like, we're going to be good. I promise. So
excellent. You have mounts coming up that we should be looking for?
Yes, I got a couple coming up. Friday looks really well, and just excited to get back into the saddle again for sure.
That was a nice win yesterday, certainly to kick off the day. So we appreciate you stopping by. Looking forward to Saturday. Certainly wish you a lot of good luck on the meet going forward, and
Thank you.
Good luck Saturday.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Katie Davis, and again, she and her dad, Robbie, across the street on Saturday night. Stop by. It should be a lot of fun. And as I say, two really, really good local charities. So we'll take a break. When we come back, Dave Grening is in the house. A little preview and review with Dave. Stay tuned.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Happy to be joined now, regular DRF rotation. Dave Grening and Mike Welch. Mike was last week. Dave was 2 weeks ago. So back in the rotation, it's Dave Grening. Dave, good morning.
I can count those every other week, so I'm good.
Sometimes I get confused up here, I have to admit. What was it? There was a day last week where it happens to me everyone where you think it's like the next day, all day long. And then something happens in the middle of the day and like, well, that's not supposed to be a Tuesday.
Right. This month, by the way, I'm sure not the same for people up here, but this July, it seems like it's been 2 months in 1 month. I mean, we're still up another week in the month of July, and I find that to be very disheartening.
And it was also opening couple of days was funny. You'd walk by people, and it would be like, gee, it seemed like we were just here a couple of weeks ago. Wanted to do a little review before we preview some of the nice stakes action coming up. And I showed a little clip. I was on the winner's circle and caught like 30 seconds with Mike Smith. That was kind of fun yesterday in the honorable miss to have Mike Smith come back to town and win a stakes race.
It's been 3 years since he rode here, 28 years since he first won the honorable miss, which is kind of scary. Twist the Fleet, and then 2 years later he won it on furlough for a show. The guy's really a marvel, Mike Smith. And he says, quote afterwards, well, somebody asked him, why did you come here? He says, well, when Safi calls, you get on the plane. And he came for the reason and got that horse right out to the front. Looked like there was plenty of speed in the race. She was the fastest of them all, and Mike knows what to do with the speed.
Top of the stretch, I thought might get swallowed up a little bit, but no.
No, she was very good.
And it was fun to see Mike in the winner's circle. Flies in, and he had the previous race he'd flown down the Lone Star to jump on board the horse. So
and speaking of, since you bring back the Wayback Machine, so I just came over from Bill Mott's barn, and Bill Mott was ponying a horse, and who was on the horse? Julie Crone.
Oh wow!
I think they're filming in some sort of documentary or something, and I was like, how far back in the way? I don't know what year. You don't know what day it is. I don't know what year it is. Mike Smith wins a stake, and Julie Crone's on a horse, and I'm like, where am I? I know I went to sleep last night. I don't know what year I woke up in.
That's like a throwback to when I first started to get into that's funny. That's very funny. All right, let's get to some of the other stakes that I wanted some comments on. I pulled up a week ago last Friday, the Curlin. We're going to watch number 1, Unmatched Wisdom, get it done. Just your thoughts. It sounds like maybe they're looking at the Travers. Before we'll talk also about the Haskell, and before the Haskell, I could see this one going to the Travers and maybe being interesting in a year where they were beating each other. But now Dornock has kind of solidified things. But what were your thoughts on Unmatched Wisdom?
I thought this was a good effort. The last race he won emphatically, but I don't think he learned anything. When you looked at that field, it just wasn't really much there. This time he got a little bit of a test. That's a nice horse chasing him home, Corporate Power. And this morning I was actually talking to Chad mostly about Sierra Leone, but we were talking about this horse, and he had said that Pratt had told him, I think this horse is better with the target. He wound up on the lead because there wasn't any other speed in the race. And when you're the best horse, you're 1 of 5. You might as well just take advantage of what they give you. But I think the horse is better with a target. Though undoubtedly he'll get that in the Travers. It's just a matter of whether he's good enough. Travers is only going to be his 4th lifetime start. It seems to be a pretty talented 3-year-old crop. You can throw the filly in there if she runs. It's going to be a tall ass. But he's a nice horse, if not for the Travers, at least for the future. This is a solid racehorse. It's a nice group of 3-year-olds actually this year, and you just hope they can stay sound and healthy and all get to these big races, such as the Travers, such as the PA Derby.
They were beating each other, and there was a small group with only 2 stakes wins. Dornock's going to change that. We'll hit on that in a second. And you mentioned the filly. You wanted some thoughts on the coaching club, American Oaks. We will watch the stretch run here. It's going to be number 3, Torpedo. I thought this was just a brilliant performance. And Kenny in the winner's circle afterwards certainly was flirting with the Travers.
Look, he's been flirting with the idea of running her against the boys after the weekend after the Oaks. Now things kind of got muddled a little bit because, oh, by the way, he went ahead and won the Derby too. Now the Derby winner's pretty much done for the year. Not official, but pretty much. He won't be making any of the big 3-year-old races that are left anyway. Let's put it that way. So. Now she becomes a player in that race if they choose to run her. And he's right. He doesn't have to make a decision. He didn't have to make it Saturday. He didn't have to make it Sunday. I'm a little surprised that he's talking about making it as early as he is. I guess that might be more for, letting everybody know and, hey, get your tickets and all that stuff. Look, it would be a much more interesting race if she's in the Travers than if she's in the Alabama, because if she's in the Alabama, you're going to see the same thing that you saw in the coaching club. Now, the coaching club, she had a little adversity in that she broke bad, but she's so athletic that she was right where she needed to be by the time they got to the first turn, and the start was kind of inconsequential by that point. In the Travers, it's a different ball game for 2 reasons. 1, she'd be facing males. 2, she'd be running a 1.25 miles. And we all think when we see horses, including when I say we, the horsemen all think that when they see the horse dominated a 1.8 miles like they do, they can, another 1/8 mile is going to be fine. It's not always fine. We find that out every first Saturday in May.
She did have that little stumble at the start. It was a really nice ride from Brian Hernandez.
Yeah, look, Brian Hernandez, I think one of the best parts about this year for racing is people got to see what a lot of people have already known. That Brian Hernandez is a top quality rider and can ride any type of horse, any type of day. And the more opportunities he gets, just the better he's going to be.
Yeah, nice guy too. I hope to have him in on the weekend because he's going to be back in town, I believe. But it was a nice performance. And Kenny kind of said just what you said. Well, we come back in the Alabama, but that's no fun. No, the bettors won't make any money, so nobody's going to be happy with that.
And there's really nothing to lose. I mean, she's 3-year-old champion filly, pretty much as is. I mean, I don't even know who's second. You try the boys. Because him and I were talking about her potential bid for Horse of the Year. And I said to him, I think you're going to have to take on the boys. And he was like, well, what if I ran this? I said, I don't think that's good enough. I said, if you get a national treasure, let's say he comes here and wins the Whitney, he's got 3 grade 1s, and you've beaten just 3-year-old fillies and maybe the distaff, I don't know that that's enough. Idiomatic won 8 out of 9 last year, and she barely got a sniff for it. And Cody Switch Cody Switch had ancillary things in his favor, but she had a great resume. I don't know that Torpedo Anna's resume would be any better than hers, especially when you run against restricted companies. So I think take on the boys, nothing to lose. If she doesn't run well, she can run back in the Cotillion, she could run back in the Spinster, she could run back in the Breeders' Cup Distaff and go back to her own gender. But it's a free roll of the dice in my opinion.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting over the next few weeks. You mentioned Idiomatic. I pulled up a replay of the Molly Pitcher. She goes off at 10 cents to the dollar, and you can look at it as she gets challenged, and she's that good that she held off the challenge. But this was a nail biter for 10 cents on the dollar. She gets it done, but it was a tough last Saturday in the Molly Pitcher.
Well, the first part of the race, she was kind of loping along the 25-2, 50-1, even part of that 13-4, she was kind of just lollygagging out there. They really weren't challenging her. And then Irad takes a shot at her with this Soul of an Angel, trained by Safi Joseph, who every horse he sends out is running. It doesn't matter if they're 2-5 or 25-1. They're just running out lights out. So that was a very, a solid filly that was challenging her, and she held her off and got the job done. Another one who might just be wants to get, be a stalker type thing than be the stalkee. So look, Idiomatic's got a terrific race record.
Yeah.
Bring her on, her and randomized in the personal ensign. If we get it on the day before the Travers, I think they moved that race, right?
I think you're right.
That'll be a fun spot too.
Yeah.
And they throw in Raging Sea, who won the Shuvi that you might be talking about next. And, she that's a fun race.
Next, I had Dornoch in the Haskell, actually. We're going to watch number 1 Dornoch, number 7 Mindframe. Again, top of the stretch, I thought Mindframe went by, so I thought it was a nice effort from Dornoch. And now he has 3 stakes wins on the resume, which kind of is the top of the class, you would have to think, amongst the 3-year-olds.
He definitely put himself in the top spot with this victory here. Again, Mindframe, just like in the Belmont Stakes, got ahead of him, or headed him anyway, and he has the answer. He had the answer in the Belmont Stakes. He won a Fountain of Youth that was kind of watered down, even up to the post parade when a horse got scratched in the race that was short, and he won that race. His 2 races that his losses were excused. He didn't have a great trip in the Bluegrass, and he had the rail in the Derby. And I don't care how many different gates they try, the rail is no good in the Kentucky Derby. It just isn't. You might as well scratch. To be honest with you. So he's come out of that, won the Belmont nicely, won this race nicely. He's a very nice horse, as Danny Gargan said a year ago. He was spot on with this horse, and it's be fun. Get him to the Travers. If we can get, we have a nice Jim Dandy coming up that we're going to talk about. That's getting those horses in. Maybe Baffert gets Muth back to the races by then, and he shows up. If these horses stay healthy and sound, that Travers has a chance to be a really fun race. Yeah,
Dornoch, as you said, the 2 races, the Kentucky Derby, a definite excuse. And the Bluegrass, they tried to experiment, and, the experiment failed, and they've gone back to what he does best.
Horse wants to be on the lead, and he's a fighter. It's a good combination.
Yeah. All right, let's do a little preview, and we'll start with today and just go chronologically through the next few days, stakes-wise. The Caress today, 5.5 on the grass, and there was supposed to be some weather yesterday and today. Yesterday we lucked out, and today is looking pretty good as well. So going to go off at about 5:45. I pulled up a replay going back to the Intercontinental on Belmont Stakes weekend up here. Future is going to be the winner. Roses for Deborah, the number 6 second, and Coffee Maker number 2 third. They're all back. I tilted towards Roses for Deborah to make amends. It was the beaten favorite in here. What are your thoughts this afternoon in the Caress?
Yeah, look, I think I'm going to give her another shot as well. She didn't run. She bobbled a little bit there, as you see late, and it just might have cost her that just narrow margin that she got beat by. And look, she could obviously bobble again. Who knows? But it's a fun race. I know Christoph doesn't really love the outside draw in a 10-horse field. Maybe that'd be a scratch or 2 for him. But look, she's a solid filly. Her race record's terrific. I expect her definitely to run her race. So I kind of lean that way as well. Future is now, probably last time was the time to have her from a betting standpoint because she was good value. She's become a better horse since learning to rate. So that's got a feather in her cap. I think the interesting horse to me is Zeitlos, right inside of Roses for Deborah. Here's a filly that hasn't been on the grass only one time, and she was second in a race at Kentucky Downs. Now, Steve Asmussen has been trying to get her on the grass. Last time out was an allowance race on schedule for the turf at Churchill. It came off. She won. He's worked her on the grass up here a few times, and she's worked fine. I'm interested to see her price because I think she's live in there potentially at a decent little price.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do with her because I've liked her throughout the career, but the surface switch, you're right. It may be dependent on the odds. If you look up at the odds, right, it might be worth.
Look, she ran the one time on turf at Kentucky Downs, and it wasn't a great figure. She was second. It was almost a year ago, but she looks to have become a better horse at 4. So if she's a better horse, faster horse, and she does handle the turf some, she should be right. She figures to be right there.
Yeah, intriguing, certainly. Tomorrow it's the Amsterdam. Being an Amsterdam guy, I always like the Amsterdam, Sanford throwbacks to my youth. But 3-year-old sprinters. It's a short field. I pulled up a replay of Jefferson Street just because I think the action is going to go there. Bettors these days focus so much on the buyers, tossing in the triple-digit buyer in an allowance event on that Belmont Stakes weekend up here. 102 buyer with a huge victory. Jefferson Street taking the action. I'm going to take a little pop with the Asmussen runner, Valentine Candy, though. I went back to the Bachelor down at Oak Lawn, and I think this horse is an interesting player in here. What are your thoughts on the Amsterdam?
Look, this was a stakes winning performance in an allowance race. He's probably like, I wish there was a grade and a number and a 6-figure digit on that race. Well, there was. It was 110,000, but it wasn't good enough. to run, but that was a very strong performance. And I think this horse is actually cut out to be a nice horse. He's 2 for 2 at 6.5. He's got to win up over the track last time. Now it's a different type of track, so you got to kind of see trainers and jockeys seem to be thinking that the track has changed from what it was Belmont week up here. So, but I still think he's really cut out to be a nice horse, and I just think he might be faster than these horses. He comes out of the race before the Derby Day race where he was third to Raging Torrent. That was a key race. 4 horses come out of there to win, including Jefferson Street, including Raging Torrent, who won a stakes, the Maxfield at Churchill after that. So I think he comes out of a pretty good race the time before. Valentine Candy, look, it's tough to go against Steve Asmussen in this race. He's won it 6 times, including with horses like Jackie's Warrior and Yalpon, and go back 20 years to Bawana Charlie, who was also owned by the Islegroats, who owned Valentine Candy. He didn't really love the trip that he got in the Woody Stevens. He was 5th that day. Wide trip on a day that the rail and the inside, the inside were the better parts to be. So I'm not going to, say don't go back to him, because he is the most accomplished horse in the field, but I think he might be running into a faster field.
The Bachelor with the 95 was a nice race. So as I say, I went back to that. I'm going to be interested to see after the race what the number is. Can Jefferson Street put a couple of races? Because you look at the record, he just may be getting that good, but it is a little bit of an aberration. It's 11 points higher than the previous.
No, 15. No, it's a big. It was, at least on mine, 102.8.
Well, than the previous best.
Oh, previous best. I'm sorry. Yeah, but it's previous. But he does have some good races here, and he was third when he debuted. Bill Mott's debut runners they don't often win. He doesn't win first out very often, but he ran third in a race. General Partner was the winner. General Partner came to be to cut out a nice horse, and obviously Jefferson Street didn't show for a while. So I think he's got some excuses for why he wasn't better earlier, and now he might be just reaching his potential right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because that was certainly an eye-popping performance. All right, the Vanderbilt will be one of the stakes on Saturday. I pulled up a replay of what I think is one of the more intriguing horses over the past couple of years, Baby Yoda, who fired that crazy buyer and has never lived up to that 114, but tossed a 102 last time. We're going to look at the True North again. This is up here on that Belmont Stakes weekend. And off of that 102, clearly going to take an awful lot of action. But Skelly is in here for Steve Asmussen. Nakatomi has a nice career record for Wesley Ward. What are your thoughts on the Vanderbilt?
Kind of an interesting race, and the wild card to me is this Subrogate. Subrogate is 3 for 3 this year, and each race is getting better and faster than the previous one. And I was on the phone and texting with the trainer Monday, Jorge Duarte, because I was trying to figure out, I wanted to do a little note on this horse. And the first thing he told me was, well, we're entering the DeFrancis. And then the next thing he told me is, we didn't enter the DeFrancis. Boss wants to take a shot here. And why not? He's a horse who's just come off a big allowance win at Aqueduct, which came after he won here on Belmont Day in a tough race, or a tough finish. The field he's facing now is way better. He's definitely facing better company than he's faced leading, in those allowance races, but he's obviously deserved the shot to get here. Skelly, it's all about the break for him. He needs to break. He needs to break sharper than he's been breaking lately. And this is a pretty durable horse, though. Horses go to Riyadh. He's come back from Riyadh. He's run 3 times since he went to Riyadh. A lot of those guys, trainers, will give him a break and to see in the summertime. But there is some other speed in here. And the thing with Baby Yoda is he loves this racetrack. Whatever he is, look, it's not on the paper here because, if you go back, his very first race, he was a 10-claimer at Laurel or Pimlico. And they bought him after that race. So this horse has gone from a 10-claimer to a Grade 2 stakes winner. But there's no other track he's better at than here.
I'm just looking forward to seeing what he can do, because again, he popped the 102 and got back to a triple digit.
But he is another one there that might look like the time was the time. You got him at 9-1 there. You're not going to get that price here. Yeah,
Subrigate's interesting again, the 106 buyer. But Skelly with a string of triple digit buyers going down the page. It's a fun edition of the Alfred G. Vanderbilt and the Jim Dandy. Traditionally a prep for the Travers. I pulled up a replay of the Florida Derby because I think all eyes will be on Fierceness. The big Florida Derby win with a 1:10 buyer for Fierceness, and then comes back and kind of tosses in a clunker in the Kentucky Derby and hasn't been seen since then. So Fierceness is interesting, but Kenny McPeak has gold. Sierra Leone for Chad Brown. Sees the Gray, I think, is interesting for Wayne Lucas. Field of 6, but I think it's an intriguing field of 6. Your thoughts on the Jim Dandy?
Well, this horse is an enigma, Steph. I mean,
Yeah.
look at this. He's cantering into was a record-setting margin of victory, 14 and 13 and change that day, and he went off and made him the favorite in the Kentucky Derby, and he just wasn't the fierceness that we saw this day on that day. And I don't know what you're going to see on Saturday. I really don't. Personally, I don't think he's training like he did in the wintertime. He was breathtaking at Palm Beach Downs in the mornings. He's been good here. He was great down there. But the great down there didn't necessarily translate in the Holy Bowl, but he had excuses in the Holy Bowl. Florida Derby was tremendous. Field was just suspect, right? Catalytic, really. Grandmo the First, those aren't grade 1 type horses, in at least going 2 turns anyway. So I don't know what to do with fierceness. The only thing I know for certain is Sierra Leone is going to run his race because he always runs his race. What I'd like to see for the horse that lugs in, I'd like to see him just stay on the rail the whole time. Where's he going to go? He starts from the rail, just stay there. This pace in the race, fierceness might go. Sees the Gray's going to go. I don't know how fast Pony Express is, but you just figure there's going to be some pace here. So if I'm Flavien Prat, and I'm not telling him how to ride, but I'm just thinking to myself, maybe I just experiment and I just stay on the rail. Where's he going to go? He's not going to lug out. Doesn't lug out. He lugs in. And you just got to hope it opens. Or maybe you tip out later and go by them. But I've loved I love what I've seen from this horse in the morning. His gallop outs and some of his works have been tremendous. A sign of maturity here maybe is Chad feels good enough to work him by himself, where he was working with company. Might have been a horse that needed company early. Now he's working by himself and he's working very sharply. I think I'm not saying he's the best 3-year-old because he's not the most accomplished 3-year-old, but if he is the most accomplished 3-year-old by the year's end, it wouldn't surprise me. He has to prove it though, and he's got to start Saturday.
Again, intriguing field of 6 in here that could set things up for at least some of them going into the Travers. You mentioned Flavien Prat. He's having a good meet. And on the jockey side of things, handicapping show, we mentioned Dylan Davis, who all of his winners have been double digits. He's having a very good meet. And it was funny, last weekend there was a couple of days where jockeys were winning in clumps over.
I've never seen that. So Irad wins 4 on Friday. Pratt, I think, won 4. No, somebody won 4 on Dylan. I'm sorry. Dylan won 4 on Saturday. And I was writing a story kind of based on that. And then Franco and Pratt win 4 on Sunday. I've never seen 2 jockeys win 4 races on one card here.
Up here
Anyway. Yeah. And I know there was 12 races, really 11. The one's a jump. But I haven't seen that before. So, 4 guys in 3 days won 4 races on a card. Dylan's got a great opportunity also this weekend. He's riding here, obviously, through early part of Saturday. Then he's catching a flight to California. He's actually the first time he's going to ride at Del Mar Masterpiece and the Eddie Reed. He rode Masterpiece to victory in the Fort Marcy, I believe, in Aqueduct, and they're sticking with him. They're sending him up. The horse actually won the Eddie Reed 2 years ago when he was with Michael McCarthy, and he's been with Rick Dutcher now. So that's cool. He's never ridden at Del Mar before. He's only ridden once at Santa Anita. So maybe it's a good taste for him because maybe he gets to go out there for the Breeders' Cup this year.
Katie said he was actually supposed to be over on the Sulky, over in the charity event on Saturday night. So Robbie is substituting for Dylan because he's going out.
Oh, okay, that's what you're saying. Okay, that's
and I guess between the two, he probably made the right decision.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger pot out there. And Del Mar in July is pretty nice.
Nice charity's getting it over here, but Robbie is going to be a fine substitute, and Katie also again with the charity event coming up. Whenever we get you guys in here, we also like to tout the workout report, drf.com. You can pick that up. You and the whole team are out catching workouts in the morning, and we always say it's not just how fast they go, but how they go, and if they go in company, and you guys grade them. So highly tout the workout report. Again, you can catch it at drf.com to get some extra info that might make you some extra money. But speaking of being out in the mornings, anything we should know over the past week or so in the morning?
To be honest with you, I went home for a couple of days. I got back late yesterday. This morning was kind of a little bit on the quiet side. But I will, in terms of keeping with the clock and report, it's really, those are really vital for races like Saturday's 7th race, which I think you're going to see something pretty good on Saturday. There's a lot of high-priced, high-pedigreed, high connections, hot connection owners in this race, and a horse like Chancellor McPatrick for Chad Brown or Noble Confessor for Todd Pletcher. I think these are horses that you're going to see not only on Saturday but down the road.
That's what Saratoga is all about. Dave, we appreciate the visit. Again, you can catch Dave's work if you pick up the hard copy or drf.com, and we will see you again in a couple.
All right, Seth, thanks.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy, will do a little handicapping. Stay tuned.
Why just watch the races when you can be in the middle of the action? For nearly 20 years, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program has made thoroughbred ownership affordable for the everyday fan. Ownerships of 5 and 10% are now available on a nice selection of horses. As a partial owner with Bonaventure Stables, you'll enjoy all the benefits afforded every owner. Visit with your horse in the private stable area. Greet the trainers and jockeys in the paddock. And when your horse wins, savor the moment in the winner's circle at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, or wherever you bring home the prize. Based in historic Saratoga Springs, Bonaventure Stables has been training winners and creating memories since 2005. Learn more, see available horses, and meet our team at bonaventurestables.com.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised before the break, joined now by the Brooklyn Cowboy, Kevin Cox. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very good. And I would ask how you are, but when Dave Grening walked off the set, he said, "Aren't you in Bahamas already?" So you're very good. It started when we had you in opening day, and we're going to take a look at that, but it's continued. It's been a very good meet for the Brooklyn Cowboy. And as I say, it kicked off. You and I went over some races, which we'll do again today. And it was funny. We were kind of combining, and we looked at 3 races. And the first couple, we had the same one. And then in the last race that we looked at, I did not have your horse.
That was the pick you didn't steal off.
But I wish I did, because we're watching the stretch run here. It is the Queen's MG, the number 11 horse in the Schuylerville, at a modest 44-1 under Dylan Davis. Congratulations. And then that whole weekend continued. I texted you at one point, knowing you're a Seinfeld fan, and I said, you got to pull a Costanza and just say, I'm out here. Good night, everybody, because it was a great opening weekend. So congratulations on a really nice Saratoga so far.
Well, thank you. And you know what was good about watching that replay, and then we had Disco Dino with $72 the next day, is that both of those long shot winners weren't a blanket finish with maybe 5 or 6 horses and a pace meltdown. Both of those horses didn't look like losers at any point in the race, which was the weirdest thing. I mean, Disco Dino just looked gigantic. Looked like a dog with a glove on his head, as they say in Seinfeld. And then we actually got taken down at 25-1 just last week in the finale. Or else,
I saw you. That was a lot of people were using that horse and it was I thought I would have tilted towards the DQ. A lot of people were upset. I would have tilted slightly towards it, but I felt for everybody who had the horse, because that, you don't want to see somebody lose on a big price like that.
Well, once I saw the replay, I tweeted right away. I said, I'm coming down. I knew it. And as long as they stay consistent during the meet and do it no matter who the rider is on what horse, I have no problems with it, because by the rule, that was a just DQ by the book. But where the hell's the book been in the last few years?
Now, like I say, I felt for people who, because you just don't get a shot at the 20. Well, I was going to say you don't get a shot at the 25-1s too often. Opening weekend.
A mere bag of shells, as Ralph Cramden would say.
I also want to mention, you texted me a shot of you with Mary Lou Henner and Hal Linden, but the first picture was just Mary Lou Henner, and I thought, oh, I got to find out where he is. Is Mary Lou Henner at the track? Because I'm a big Taxi fan, and Mary Lou Henner was always great. But then when you did Hal Linden, I looked it up. So you saw the play they were in down in New York? How was it?
It was a small play, maybe just a couple of hundred people in the audience. I think they did it basically for free, maybe just to stay sharp and for him to keep himself busy. And everybody knows I'm a Barney Miller fan, of course. It's the most realistic police show ever. Just the opportunity, my friend George on Twitter, George Quinn, great follow. He said, Hal Linden's 93. He's doing a play in the city.
Is he really?
93.
Wow.
Look, he looked better than I felt that day. I'll tell you that much. But just the opportunity, I paid for the front row ticket, of course, and waited afterwards and basically tackled him around the ankles. Poor Hal Linden. And Mary Lou Henner was nice enough as well, but she split pretty fast after we took the photo. But just the opportunity to shake his hand, ask him a couple of questions about a couple of episodes. I said, one episode you came in with a cast on your leg. That wasn't really written into the script, was it? He goes, I rolled my ankle playing tennis, so they had me putting my foot in the toilet bowl and getting it stuck. But he still remembered it. That episode was 45 years ago.
Yeah, that's funny.
So he's as sharp as a tack. And it was a long day to drive from here into the city and then to Long Island for a couple of days. But it was pretty intimate and pretty cool.
I wasn't so much of a Barney fan, but I put Taxi and Mary Lou Henner. And I said to you, did you ask her, did you just throw a date at her? Because folks don't. I actually, coincidentally, I mentioned this on the show yesterday because Mormino has the crazy memory too. But Mary Lou Henner, it used to be when she was on the Tonight Show, they would always throw a date at her, like January 20th, 1975. She'd know the day of the week. She'd know who she had lunch with that day. She would run through the whole thing. And it was wild.
I've heard a lot about that where she says what she wore that day. But you know what? Who's going to call BS on her?
I thought the same thing. But they would verify the day of the week. She would always know that as she would start out. It was a Wednesday. And then, but you're right.
The odds are 7-1 she'll get it right, It all comes down to odds with us.
But yeah, I was a Taxi fan, and so she was. And slow down. What maybe my favorite sitcom episode of all time, Jim, with the driving test.
I think there was a horse running recently called Yellow Light or something, and I might have worked that into my write-up.
All right, let's take a look at some of the action for today and see if we can toss out some more good ideas. Opener today is State Red Mage Specials going 5.5 on the grass. I'm taking a little shot with Heavenly Light. This is a race I'm going to be interested to see where you go because I had very little confidence. I thought there was just enough here to pull me in that direction. I had stats that were on both sides of the equation. I went 4, 2, 10, and 7. But what did you see in the opener?
Well, it's not really the race that, as I say, I can hug. But I feel compelled to now at least give one double-digit price here when I'm on for the 3 races. So I kind of lean towards this race, even though I wouldn't bet it with 2 fists. I went with 328, number 3, Dancing Dakota. Not bred for the turf at all, but that really doesn't matter as much in the sprints because sometimes a sprinter's speed can carry a horse a long way when going short on the turf. They don't even realize they're on the turf until halfway through the race. Has the 3rd highest Tomlinson in the field for the distance. So there is your affinity for the early zip, hopefully. January foal has a 1 to 3 month maturity advantage on those that haven't already raced. And there's a nicely tucked away 2nd best of 67 move for this. So you had to assume Rivera is going to be gunning this one early on. My second choice is Second Chance. Number 2, decent bloodlines, nice work tab. It's going to need the trip from the inside slot. It's not going to get to the top most likely, and we'll have to take a tuck and hope Asim opens late. And third choice, went for a bomb here, Catalina Fina. There's a well-hidden, with these maidens and these firsts, go way back in the work tab. If they show talent at any point in time, it's worth an investment, especially at 30-1. There's a 3rd best gate move back on May 25th. And a guy like Mirage is going to try hard for 3rd for you, Superfecta or whatever. So 3, 2, 8. So we're on the board with a double-digit price in the first. And, basically, I could lose for the next couple of years here and still have a profit on the set. So I'm playing with house money at this point.
Yeah, I love that. 5th race this afternoon. We're looking at $16,000 conditional claimers, non-winners at 2. They will go 9 furlongs. I went master of the obvious here. I went with the entry. I do not think the entry is invincible, though, and I thought the 9 and the 10 were intriguing. And part of my questions on the entry, the drop seems a little suspicious maybe on the 1A. Similar with Masterwork, that's a suspicious drop. But Endowed, going from 25 to 16 isn't that big. That's a little more palatable to me. So for me, I'm the one entry 9, 10, and 7. What you see in the 5th?
Yeah, I went with the chalk here also. But everyone's going to be leaning towards the 1A. I haven't seen the scratches yet. I lean towards the 1 more than the 1A. $360,000 auction purchase. Should be yours for 1/20th of that today. But what I don't understand is being this horse has recently lost his ability to make whoopee, as Bob Eubanks would say.
Very good.
You would think he would keep the horse protected one more time, maybe at allowance company, rather than put the horse in for a tag right away. That kind of throws me off. But TP wipes him clean, as I like to say, with his male dirt routers getting Lasix off breaks of 51 to 57 days at 2 to 1 or less. As he's 8 for 10 in that regards, with a $3.20 ROI. Second choice is a little bit of a price, so go for the short and the long. Number 8, All the Rage, comes in off a career best effort and makes his true second off the layoff start. We make our own layoff lines. Second off the layoff today, so who knows where this one's ceiling is in that regards. And another price, Watch Hill, the number 2 for third. A mild Z pattern when going 2 turns for the first time last time out. And what we like to see with maiden breakers is that they're able to replicate or come close to replicating the number from the maiden win, that they don't get waffled. A lot of times they can get caught in a quicker pace duel early on and spit the bit and be disheartened. I like when they come back, and even if they don't finish in the same placement, that the number comes back the same, that they gave it the old college try. And this one's reunited with Vasquez, who is aboard for the win, 2 starts back. So that would be 1, 8, 2. But if the 1 is scratched, I haven't seen the changes yet, then it's going to be 8 on top. We're not going to lean towards the 1A. We're going to fade the 1A in that case.
Oh, okay. 8th race this afternoon, state bred allowance runners. They're going to go 3/4 of a mile. To me, Dolomite, it would be my single on the card today. I think this one, off a talented 2-year-old season, now comes back. This is the kind that lightly raced, showed some talent, plenty of time off. They can come back improved, and it's Chad Brown. So I tilted in that direction. But I thought Cruz de Catalina was a little bit interesting off the career debut victory, La Banquera. La Banquera is a little bit of a head scratcher, but I'm going to draw a line maybe through the stakes try. I had it 8, 2, 5, and 6. How'd you see the 8th?
I went 2, what the hell is it? 2, 8, 3. We'll start with your top choice in my second selection, Dolomite. Obviously, Chad knows how to have him ready off the break. This one's going to be over bet, though. So this is the kind of horse where you want to steer clear of over the long run if you're just betting horses to win.
He's definitely going to take a lot of money.
And there's a prime example of a horse who faces winners for the first time and improves, because you could see the upwards arrow, or you could draw the upwards arrow alongside the speed figures. Franco is back on, but like I said, one of those horses that's going to be over bet, but you can't leave off your rolling bets. You know, if you're betting the race individually, I might be inclined to pass it. But I went towards number 2, Cruz de Catalina. Went wire to wire first time out at Aqueduct and did it from the inside spot. That's never easy to do. You're sitting in the gate the longest. You're a first-time starter. And went 22 flat that day, which is important because I think there's maybe only one other horse, possibly 2, that might contest this one early on. So it could be long gone if Chad doesn't have the outside one fully cranked up. Maybe Chad's thinking a stakes race for the other one after this. Yeah. Maybe this is just a prep for that one. So you're getting 3 to 1, which is a solid price on Cruz de Catalina. And Little Mott is 3 or 4 with dirt runners off a maiden win, 28 to 50 days. And the winners came back $3, $4, and $8. And the third choice is the number 3, Easy Play. Don't sleep on those Finger Lake shippers. That's where Disco Dino came from with my boy, the other Ferraro, I believe it was that day, right? This one's hit the board half of his 32 lifetime starts, or half of her 32 lifetime starts. I don't want to be called out on Twitter for that. So we're going to go with 2, 8, 3 there in the 8th.
There was another Finger Lake shipper today that I thought was interesting. And yeah, do not ignore those Finger Lake shippers, certainly. Before we let you go, any thoughts on the weekend? Torpedo Anna here, Dornock down at Monmouth in the Haskell.
Well, this past week, I didn't meant this coming weekend. I had a discussion with Jack Knowlton, and people say, "Oh, go against the boys, go against the boys." And McPeak is giving the impression of being a sporting man and considering it. But I'm just thinking, you win the race for the girls. You go into just after the Breeders' Cup. You increase her status as a broodmare. Why not take the easy money? Is my train of thought. I mean, yes, we would all love to see it, but if I own that horse, I'm taking the sure money because no one's giving it to me. So I'm going to take it when I have the opportunity to take it. I really didn't pay attention to too much of the Monmouth card that day, so I can't offer an opinion. But no, we have the Jim Dandy this week, and people say, "How are you going to bet that race?" I said, "Well, I'll tell you how I'm going to bet it. The Chad horse is going to be no worse than second there, but Todd's horse doesn't necessarily have to be 1-2. Maybe the horse is off his game again." So I said, I'm betting the Chad horse to place because if the Todd horse finishes out, you're going to get exponentially a higher place price. Now, that doesn't sound sexy, but, percentage-wise, it might be a decent bet. Also, one final thought, the bankroll bets, doing bankroll bets tomorrow, Fridays and Saturdays, where we've doubled our $400 investment already. We're already on our way to a third straight profitable meet there. So it's going well so far, but there's a lot of triple bogeys out there waiting to bite me in the ass.
Getting up to an early start is key, though. That's always a lot of fun and making some money for the bankroll team. So, again, congratulations on a nice start to the meet. We'll have you plugged in again here on a Thursday in a couple of weeks. So looking forward to that, but knock them dead this afternoon.
Yeah, I just need a little more sleep is all because I have not been doing much. Because if I'm doing this, I'm not doing sleep.
Tell me about it. And I am looking for there we go. Before I wrap it up, do want to alert people to the promos coming up today at the Clubhouse Racebook, the Play the Board contest. Keep that in mind, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Tomorrow, Friday, Fan Appreciation Day at the Broadway Lanes Easy Bet. So swing by there and give us our chance to say thank you to you tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow at the Clubhouse Racebook, the Knockout Challenge. So a little extra fun at the Racebook tomorrow afternoon. Also tomorrow, entries open for the Pick 3 bankroll. The Play of the Day bankroll is a season-long bankroll. That team's already been selected. And again, they have some nice money in the bank, courtesy of Kevin and Steve Bick. But the Pick 3 bankroll happens every Sunday, new team, and entries will open every Friday at capitalotv.com. So keep that in mind for tomorrow. And Saturday at the Clubhouse Racebook, the King of the Hill contest. Brand new contest. It's a lot of fun. So stop by the Clubhouse Racebook and take your shot. All right, Seth Merrow, wrapping it up for Racing Across America on this Thursday morning. Should be fun. We appreciate your tuning in. Have some fun this afternoon. It is shaping up to be a nice day. So if you're coming up here, I think you'll have a great day. Hopefully cash some tickets. We'll be back in tomorrow morning. More here on OTB TV, 9 a.m. Handicapper Support, 10 a.m. Racing Across America. We'll see you then.
Turn your love of racing into savings with equine
Appreciate
discounts
it.
through the NTRA. Purchase through equine discounts and receive great savings on well-known brands like John Deere, Sherwin-Williams, Big Ass Fans, Farmers Insurance, and Office Depot. Join thousands of other equine members and support companies that give back to the sport we all love. Call 866-678-4289 or visit equinediscounts.com to start saving today.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
You've been watching Racing Across America. Racing Across America has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Also brought to you by Wizard Race and Sports.
Second last is Tough Luck, and Quahog Republic is the last one to flash past the 4.5. So Not My First Rodeo continues to carve out the clock. Now, Liam's the Great is right there chasing and getting closer in second. Crab Cakes and Beer has no excuses today and is lurking ever so closer in third. Kitten's Ploy's a ground-saving fourth in front of Luca Machine. Around the bend past the 3. Not My First Rodeo has been hounded every step of the way by Liam's the Great. And now Crab Cakes and Beer's a struggling third. So is Kitten's Ploy and trying to close in his Quahog Republic. They turn for home, and Not My First Rodeo came with its running shoes on today and kicks for the money past the 3/16 with a cozy lead. Liam's the Great still is in a clear-cut second, and the others are going up and down like a merry-go-round, including Crab Cakes and Beer and Kitten's Ploy. But this is over. Not My First Rodeo was never headed, and Not My First Rodeo and Jamie Rodriguez is 16-1 to beat Liam's the Great, Crab Cakes and Beer, and then came Tough Luck. Away and running. The favorite was Slow, Kiss Me Hearty into stride, but there goes Flashin' Dynamite, flashing that speed. The long shot West Side Girl is right there too, and Principia is in front running frame. Brown Sugar Babe, the first one into the fourth one away. Kiss Me Hearty's in front of Honor to the Truth, and last of all is Dr. Abby, who's well off the rail. So Flashin' Dynamite, the dictating speed, shows the way by a length and a half, and Principia is eager to go, but Danny C says no, not yet in that second place position. Kiss Me Hearty with the money on takes the muddy trail inside that third place position, and West Side Girl flanks that rival down the back of the track. Brown Sugar Babe's out deep with Honor the Truth, and still last of all is Dr. Abby. So Flashin' Dynamite says Catch Me If You Can in the sixth of the day and leads by a length and a quarter. Principia is right there still on a patient hold and looks sharp as they pass the half-mile pole. Kiss Me Hearty now comes under a ride in that third place position with West Side Girl tracking the top three. Trying to close in his Brown Sugar Babe with Dr. Abby, and Honor the Truth's been relegated to last. Principia is poised to pounce on Flashin' Dynamite. Flashin' Dynamite leads by a breadcrumb. Principia is right there to take the lead away. Deep on the track, trying to close in is Dr. Abby alongside Brown Sugar Babe and West Side Girl, and Kiss Me Hearty at even money is struggling in sixth. Heads turn for home. Principia, the third choice in the wagering market, kicks for home, but an onslaught of challengers continue to chase. Flashin' Dynamite sticking to that rail, and here comes Dr. Abby at 3-1. Dr. Abby surges past them all, and Dr. Abby from the back of the pack to win. Flashin' Dynamite in a photo with Kiss Me Hearty for second. Principia weakened to fourth. They're all in line. Away and running. Hustled Speed from Double Fireball today, and Malibu Beauty, they set a rapid agenda, and My Thoughts came away in third. The Gray is Bound by Destiny. Intrepid Dream taking well off the muddy rail today, and Don't Tell Kelly was a little slow when the starter said go. So Double Fireball That speed on display here and shows the way by half a length, but Malibu Beauty is right there upping the stakes in that second place position, and they exit the first turn with a 7-length advantage. My Thoughts now try to bridge that divide ever so slowly, and Bound by Destiny rides the rail. Still a wide trip for Intrepid Dream, who's second last, and Don't Tell Kelly brings up the rear. They race down to the 4.5 furlong point, and Double Fireball still the leader, but is hounded every step of the way by Malibu Beauty. Now Intrepid Dream is gliding up to the others, including My Thoughts, and up the inside Bound by Destiny, and Don't Tell Kelly comes under a ride. Around the far turn they go.